Well, now for more on what the Greek turmoil means for the future of Europe. Let's cross now to France and Jacques Attali. He was a special advisor to French President Mitterrand and a founder of the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development. First of all, thank you very much for your time this morning. Do you think that we are now in a situation where the Eurozone is fundamentally flawed?
Well, first I want to say that the Eurozone is not in a weaker position than the UK pound, not in a weak position than the Japanese yen, or not in a weaker position than the American dollar, if we look at ratios. But it's clear that the difference between the Eurozone and the other countries is that in those countries there is a budget, and the real weak point of the Eurozone is that we have a currency without a budget, and that cannot last. Euro cannot last as a currency without a European budget, a European treasury, the capacity to issue euro bonds, and as long as we don't have that, we'll have a lot of problems.
Indeed. There's no, at the moment, there are no plans to have a European budget. Does that mean that Greece cannot remain part of the euro?
No, I was part of a group who drafted the Maastricht Treaty, and we drafted it carefully in order not to make possible any exit. Therefore, I don't believe that there is any risk of Greece getting out of the euro. It's simply technically impossible.
If it's technically impossible,
when it is impossible,
indeed, if it's technically impossible to get out, is it technically impossible for them to default as well?
No, that's different. It's possible for them to default, and that's certainly a plan B or a plan C. But this is going to be a nightmare if it happens, and it's not in the interest of any country, not even in the interest of UK, even if people can say, well, we are happy, but it's because it's happening elsewhere. But if it happens to Greece, it will certainly happen to other countries, and the markets would look at UK, where the ratios are much worse than the Greek one.
Indeed. The difference, obviously, with the UK, as you said, that does have its own budget. At the moment, Portugal and Spain are also feeling the contagion from Greece. Is it possible at this stage to solve this problem through the ECB, through the IMF, or are we not going to just need more and more money until eventually Germany says we're not going to put up any more?
That's not the real path for solution. When we created the single market, we knew that there was a need for a single currency, but to create the single currency, we had to go through a long period of devaluation, and that led to the creation of a single currency. Now we face a crisis. The solution is to go forward in the deepening of the European integration, not to put more money or more money. That's not the solution. The solution is to create a European budget, to have a European treasury, to issue treasury bonds, European treasury bonds, and to have a guarantee agency for the treasury bond. That's the solution. The other ways are only a mechanism to let the snowball grow.
How likely is this solution to actually happen? I mean, can you actually see a central European finance ministry, for example, happening anytime soon?
No, unfortunately, we are far from that. It's not a matter for finance minister to decide. It's a matter for head of state to decide. And this has to be decided between two persons, Mrs. Merkel and Mr. Sarkozy. When they are one back from China and the second out of these elections, maybe they will look at serious matters, which means go forward in the deepening of the European Union before they all are reached by the disaster of a collapse of the euro.
Mr. Attali, thank you very much indeed for your time this morning.